Hey everybody, how you doing today? Man, Friday, last day of the work week. Great day to be here. Here with a very special guest, very smart guest here, man. You guys are going to learn a lot today. Farnia, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm
That's
happy
great.
to be here. Yeah.
No, definitely. We're glad to have you. I'm so glad you're here. And before we get into anything, we have to get into your bio. So let's jump right into that.
Okay.
Today's guest was recently recognized as a 2026 top coach in Philadelphia. Farnia Fresnel is the founder and president of the Lensurf Group, a leadership development firm and a 2025 Inc. Power Partner Award recipient. A former Fortune 100 leader at Morgan Stanley, Citi, and AT&T, Farnia led complex technology and transformation work before shifting her focus to leadership development. Today, she works with high performing professionals and global first and onlys, helping them ignite clarity and expand their capacity to lead in environments that weren't designed with them in mind. She's coached leaders across 40 plus countries and is the creator of Leadership COGS, a free, live, micro learning series reaching professionals in 200 plus commercial buildings nationwide. She's also served as mastery faculty for positive intelligence, where her work has helped build the mental fitness capacity of more than 6,000 wellness professionals. A 5 time marathoner turned hiker, Farnia finds focus through movement and stays grounded by faith and family. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm glad you're here. Just starting off with the bio, that was a lot of accomplishments. Working with these big companies is, I salute you for that. That's a big thing. And I also just like how you added in there, just personal things about actually liking a hike and things like that.
Mhm.
But what was the start of your story? Like, what in your journey put you on the path you're on now? If you could just remember that first moment that made you inspired to take this route.
Yeah. So I'd say my journey started a long time. I mean, I was born into a Haitian American family, and there are like standards that are just set. And there's probably maybe five occupations that you're allowed to pursue. One of them was engineering, doctor. I mean, I could name them, but I think this happens a lot in different cultures. And I chose to be an engineer, not because I really wanted to be an engineer or loved the idea of engineering, but I used to watch back in the day. There were these AT&T commercials on TV, and I actually loved the commercials so much. And I was like, oh, what do you have to do that back then? And so I pursued engineering, and I knew halfway that I didn't want to be behind the scenes necessarily. Like there was a piece of me that wanted to be with people and not necessarily just technology. And I didn't see a clear path to integrating the two. So I spent a portion of my career when I first got out. I actually worked for Date. That was my first job out of college. Was at AT&T, so that felt like a win. I was like, ah, I made it. I'm done. But that wasn't the end. That was just the beginning. And I spent some time in technology from AT&T. Back then, it was like video on demand. That was what they were doing, in consulting, and then technology and wealth management. And all that time, like I was a systems engineer, the thinking is you optimize process, you optimize technology, you make things better. But what I came to realize was optimization, nothing works without people. Like most of the focus was not necessarily people speak, it was like tech speak, again process speak, like how can we do things better. And even now with AI that happens, but it's people that really make the difference in any company, any like family, like whatever. It's people that make the difference. So I shifted the second part of my career. I left Morgan Stanley, and I started my firm, the Lensurf Group. And that's what we do. I say we support leaders and teams in expanding their perspectives so they can make better decisions more sustainably. So that was a good decision for me to like take my love of optimization and change that to like optimizing people, supporting them and doing better things for themselves.
Yeah, that's nice. It's inspiring because it just shows you already had certain opportunities, that you could have stayed in, but just going with your passions and going the route that you really wanted to go. That's really paying off because you're still working with huge companies while you're doing that. And I know you mentioned your company. Can you just talk a little bit more about your company and the perspective and the idea behind it?
Yeah, yeah. So the real story is, so I'm left-handed, and when I was a kid, I was forced to write with my right hand. And that, like in school, they actually made me write with my right hand, and this was I was very young, so I wrote backwards. And so you could literally hold my writing up to a mirror and read it in the mirror. And
Okay.
I got used to looking at things in a different way because that's just how my brain was working. So my last name is Fresnel, like the Fresnel lens that is used in like lighthouses, projectors, and even like headlights on cars. And what that lens does is it narrows light so that it's brighter and can travel farther. So if you need like a lighthouse, you're at sea, you need a lighthouse to kind of show you where you're going, because if it's dark and whatever, you can't see. So Lensurf is actually Fresnel backwards. So my company's name is the Lensurf Group. And the work that we're doing, again, is helping people shift their own lenses. So they're not looking, most people just look out or they receive what comes in, but like shifting that perspective. So you're looking inside, like a lot of answers are inside. And
Mhm.
when you look out, you're looking out. This is what work we do, is support people looking out from the vantage point of empathy. So what is that person experiencing, and what that translates into, like if you're a business owner, like when you consider what is user experience, that's empathy, right? Like how are people going to use this thing, my app or whatever, that's empathy. Like understanding what user experience is, understanding how are people approaching you, how what is the customer need or whatever that is. So when leaders or entrepreneurs, anybody, when they shift their view, they ignite clarity and they really expand their capacity to understand and be understood. So that's the work that we do. So I named my company this whole backwards thing because that is, I think, the root of what happened to me, that helped me see things differently.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, as you said, Lensurf, I'm reading your name off the screen like, wow, it really is your last name
It's like no
backwards.
matter how you put it, backwards or forwards, it means lens, it means clarity. So I was like, I was born to do this work.
Yeah, literally you were. And you often talk about, like igniting clarity and building capacity. So how would you define capacity and where did those ideas come from?
Well, I'd say so. Capacity is how much can you hold? How much can you decide? Like every day, we make these micro decisions from the time you're going to wake up to how you're going to brush your teeth. Like all these, how much can you hold? How much can you decide? How much can you create consistently? So in our company, our tagline is exceed your potential. And that is a tagline of capacity. So most of us, we only really see what we've been told is true about ourselves. So again, I'm Haitian American. I was born in a certain place, certain time. I was around certain people who were doing certain things. So we see that it's really clear the culture that we're born into. We could see that if you're at work, it's the reputation of the company that you're going to work, because there becomes an affiliation bias, like you become affiliated with that thing. So you see yourself through that lens. And I'll use this cup. I'm drinking more water nowadays, so I always have a cup, lots of water around me. Most people only really see themselves like in this way. So this is
Yeah,
a capacity thing. Like, okay, this is a glass, it holds this much. But in reality, when you shift your perspective, when you dig into who you can be, and not the what if, it's like your dreams are this big. And a lot of people have big dreams, but they stay in small spaces like this. So they're not expanding their capacity to the magnitude of what they're dreaming about. And when you match the two, like maybe again, this is what I'm pouring my water from, this bigger bottle, but when you match the capacity, the size of your dreams with where the resources you have and where you actually are, like you're able to do this. So exceed your potential isn't about like hustling more. It's about harvesting more of who you already are.
that's real deep because I like the comparison you just made because it's like we think that we have a ceiling when there's really no ceiling to what we
Uh,
can do. And it's all really in our mind. It's
yeah.
really 90% mental, really 95% mental. So it's like once you can come to that conclusion, it's many new heights that we can reach. And You did mention about how much we can hold, but can you also just talk a little bit about how much does organization play a part in building your own capacity?
You said organization, like the organization you're in, or being organized?
Yeah, exactly. Being organized.
Yeah, all right. So, girl, you hit it on the head. It's like it's not more, more, more. It's like just working with what you have. A lot of
Yeah.
time, like I do this. I was like a teenager and I started creating a schedule for myself that this might seem like I was crazy, but it was literally based on 30-minute increments. Like, what do you do? What time am I going to wake up? What am I going to do next? Because for me, again, I had dreams. I didn't know where I was going at the time, but I had dreams that was like, I want to be able to fit in all the fun stuff. So I wanted to get up early. I wanted to go play, whatever it is that you're planning to do. And that's how I used to think about my day. Like, when was I going to do all the fun stuff? Or when was I going to have to do the stuff I didn't want to do? And when I work with like leaders now, what I tend to see is they've got a lot on their plates, not only at work, but at home too. And what tends to happen is you have to make so many micro decisions and you have nowhere to put them. They're just in your head and it feels overwhelming. So overwhelm over time that leads to burnout. Like you don't have anywhere to put something. You can't see where it's going to fit into your schedule. You just know that it's one more thing that you have to do. So being organized just means structuring. Like, what is, like, where are you going? Start with where are you going? Like, what do you want? Nobody would get nowadays get into a car, or even if you're about to go visit a friend, you put it into Google Maps or whatever version of Google, Maps you use, and you set the GPS. This is where I'd like to be in whatever time, right? So you might even say, oh, by 4 o'clock, I want to be in this place. Like, how do I get there by 4 o'clock? Same thing we have the privilege of doing with our lives, with our work, with our dreams. Like, it's January. We're just wrapping up January, right? Like, it's just about the last day of January. And a lot of people set resolutions. Resolutions fail because you didn't make space for what you're actually asking for. You didn't structure what you're asking for. It's not that big. It's just how and where will you allow it to fit in to what you're already doing. And when I say that, it's not only fitting it in to do more, it's what are you taking out so that it can now fit. Your bigger dream can't fit with this small, refuse that's at the bottom of your glass, right? Like, there's garbage down there, just clear that out to fit your bigger whatever that happens to be in. So organizing your time, priorities, organizing the people even that are around you who have the privilege of being around you.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I know it's a quote saying you can't continue doing the same things and expect a different result.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of, like you said, the new year just passed. When those fireworks are ignited, it's a lot of people writing those resolutions. But once the third week roll around, it's like they they done they not even opening up the notebook no more. So
Yeah.
it's kind of, you gotta stick to what you do. So that's why I really do like the capacity method. Anybody that wants to be successful in business has to incorporate it into their framework. But when was the first time
Mm.
that you actually questioned your own capacity?
I grew up in a supportive environment. So I had like family support for, like, there was nothing I could tell my mother that I was going to the moon and she'd be like, okay, let me know when you come back. Right? Like, it was that kind of thing. Like, there was nothing that I said that was ridiculous. So oh mom, I'd like to try. Da, 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 da. And she's like, okay, sure. It's not like she knew how to do it. She didn't even care how to do it, but the thinking was that she wanted to support it. She may not, like, go above and beyond to support it, but I knew that if I wanted something, if my heart was behind something, my family cared enough. They would invite people like, "Oh, she's gonna have," they don't even know what it is. Didn't do this. Like, there were so many people that came to my high school graduation that we didn't even have enough tickets for the many uncles and aunts that came. So I had a supportive environment, and with all that support, it's like my impression of myself came from all of that support system around me. So when I, started my career, and you can float with that much. You feel really good when you have that kind of support. You may not have a lot of resources, meaning mentors or things like that. You may not have a lot of resources, but the feeling supported is really powerful. When I again started my career, what shifted for me was that a lot of what I was responsible for. It was growing, like growing in my maturity, growing as I was ascending the corporate ladder, like there was more responsibility and I didn't necessarily have resources that could support me in that way. So if I said, "Oh, I'm stressed," or I really didn't feel stressed in that way, but if I was tired or wasn't feeling so great about something that I might have done, I could talk to somebody that was in my support system, but I couldn't really get answers. So what I yearned for was like mentorship. I was a member of a women's organization like that, like a Black women's organization. So we were all working on Wall Street, and it was nice to have that kind of support system. So one day, I thought I would bring this challenge. I was up for pretty senior role in the organization because somebody else left, and it was me that was taking that role. I was excited about it, but there were some things I just didn't know, and I didn't have trusted people at the time internally that could necessarily give me answers. So I went to talk to this group of women, and I posed because they were all in the same kind of place, firsts or onlys in their space, and feeling their own kind of challenges. So I brought this challenge that I was having to them, and nobody, it was like crickets after I finished talking. It's like crickets. And I was like, did I maybe I was speaking low. Nobody heard me. And I don't know. So I didn't want to repeat it because it was a long story. But I didn't hear anything. Like there was no, oh my gosh, or did you consider, there was no support in that way. And nobody even followed up. Actually, there's one friend that I had that did, and I felt alone. So it was in that I realized that my capacity was constrained by what I was allowing to be around me. And then it was when I realized that I need to look inside. I'm not harvesting my capacity because there's something that's inside that's not being used. My answers aren't supposed to come from outside of me. What I was used to, again, as a child, looking at my family, like, oh, they're so happy for me. So my joy comes from that, right? So I was looking outside, like, oh, these are my peers, or this is my social group, this is my support group, or as if the answer was supposed to come from, and it wasn't. So that's when I questioned my own capacity.
That's a great point because I know, like in the entrepreneurial journey, you do have to listen to that inner voice, and
Mm.
a lot of times go with what makes you happy compared to what makes everybody on the outside smile. It might be something that makes you happy, something that makes you feel good, but on the outside, other people might not really see it, but it's gonna help you further down the line. Just going with what's gonna benefit you compared to just trying to make everybody on the outside happy, because as we know, that's impossible. Even
It's impossible.
even top athletes, if you lose the game, your own fans go boo you, you
Yeah,
know? So,
exactly. You thought you were doing good at the beginning of the game, but by the end, it's like they're boo. It's like, come on.
you know, so it's a double-edged sword when it comes down to it. But I also like how you talked about the environment. So can you just speak on how important is it, just the environment that you are in when you're trying to grow in business?
Yeah. There's like a saying that you are a reflection of the 5 people that are around you, the top 5 people that are around you are the ones that you spend the most time with. So I extend that beyond just the people. And it's like where are you physically locating yourself? Like how are you conducting your work? Like I'm sitting in my office right now and I'm like, well, I do things a certain way and I allow certain people into my space, and just being more critical and being more conscious of who that is, what that is, and what that means to my next. So seeking people who are doing similar things, or people who are, it's how I met you, right? Like we were about to do a program in Denver. And like I was connected to you on LinkedIn. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna reach out to my LinkedIn network and see like who's who, and just I've never been there before, so I was looking forward to that. So it was so great to connect, and you really went out of your way to support me and support us with that initiative, and getting us on move spot, and just orienting us to what that could be. So that, like, surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded, around people who care, around people who have energy and aren't like just gonna naysay and be really negative to make you doubt what you're doing. So that makes a significant difference.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, we definitely we were glad to help. I know you said it turned out great. You had a
Yeah,
great turnout,
yeah.
and we have a lot of new features coming on Move Spot this year too. So it's definitely going to be great to see as we both continue keep improving. And yeah, just touching on the last point, that's so true. And it's really crazy because you could have a generational or $1 million idea and you might just tell it to the wrong person. And,
Mhm.
that just makes somebody not chase their dream just because that one person didn't believe in them. It's no
Yeah,
telling how many dreams are in the graveyard just because the person with that dream took what somebody else said and took it
mhm.
to heart and then just use it as motivation. I see two options. Like once we tell somebody something, we can either and they let's say they shoot down the idea, we can either let it affect us
Yep,
and let it stop us, or we can just use that as fuel and add it to the fire. Like it's only two
absolutely.
options.
Absolutely. It can affect you. It can inspire you because it's
Yeah.
affected you. Like they're like, "Oh my gosh, they said that. All right, I'm gonna prove to you." But it shouldn't be proving to other people. It's like proving to yourself. That
Yeah.
leader's instinct, that gut, that's what and like me reaching outside and asking people questions about what I should do. It's like, well, what should you do? What do you want? Like that's the real answer. What do you want? Not what they want from me. What do you want? I'm excited to talk to you. So you had a clothing line, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, w clothing line to app, like, how does that fire go? Like, what was talking to you? And I feel like I'm learning from you, but just like even I love that part of your story. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. No, it's really just happened on just a creativity note on some
Mhm,
stuff like I might be doing a new feature for MoveSpot. That's cool. But tomorrow I might not feel like working on the app. I might just feel like
mhm,
designing some clothes.
mhm.
And then after I finish designing that shirt, I might not feel like doing clothes the next day. I might feel like going back to an app, or I might just feel like getting on a podcast like we are now. But
Yeah.
everything I'm doing, it all has a common denominator, and it's like stuff that doesn't feel like work. Doesn't feel like work. Me getting on the podcast and us talking about business, helping
Mhm,
other people, inspiring them. I'm not checking my schedule like, oh, I have to do this at this time. I'm just in the position where if I'm seeing results with what I'm doing, it's making me want to work harder. So
mhm.
I just know if I don't want to work on Move Spot a certain day, I want to have something else lined up just so I can keep that creativity flowing. Cause like once you're in that flow state, you want to make sure you can remain in it.
Yeah. You said the magic word, like passion. When you care about something, it doesn't feel like work. When you genuinely care about what you're doing, it doesn't feel like work. Like you want to be there. You want to do the next thing. You want to explore. And when there's like a breakthrough, you're just really excited. And I love that you mentioned like the variety to continue to feed your creativity, like having the options to still progress your own agenda or your ever like whatever it is you're working towards, but have giving yourself the grace and flexibility to choose what is it, how do you want to apply your creativity today, and then allow yourself to do that. Like that's really special. Um,
Yeah,
that's really
thank
special.
you. I appreciate it. I did have another question for you too. I know you work with a lot of entrepreneurs and
Mhm.
high performers
Yep. Yep.
who may look successful on the outside, but sometimes they feel like they're constantly proving themselves. I'm just wondering why do you think that's so common?
Mm. Well, a lot of the people that I work are their first or only, so they may not have ever done what it is that they're supposed to be doing before, and or it may never have been done. So they're doing something for the first time that has never been done. So there's no roadmap. There's no clear path to take. So part of it is you operate from your lived experience, and then maybe you research and investigate and things like that. But you really have to rely on your gut. And oftentimes these people, they're building while they're performing. There's no, in school you get to take a quiz and then you get some feedback on the quiz before you take the real test, like the exam, the big test.
Yeah,
Or when you take real steps in life, and the folks I work with, when they're taking these steps in life, there is no beta, there's no draft. It's live, it's immediate, and the feedback might be harsh. It's my like, you're completely off base. So there's reputational risk. It's like you're exposed. And so the fear, the challenges that they tend to face tend to be like you're proving yourself, and you're proving that you won't make mistakes. So there's almost a fear of fail. I mean, everybody has a fear of failure, but
Yeah.
you feel like you need to continue to prove yourself to get to the next. So you did this thing, but your task, whatever people are looking, oh, you did it before. Let's try. You need to do this one more time, or you need to do this bigger thing. So the fear is real. The fear is real. The perception might be like, oh, they're confident, they get stuff done, but the fear of failure and the fear of making mistakes publicly is very, very real. So building while performing, that's the issue.
Yeah, I love that response. And I feel like every entrepreneur does have to battle with that at some point. Even just me being an athlete, you know, you got a big playout game. As somebody in the crowd looks like, okay, they just have a playout game. As a player, I know if we don't make it to the next round, I might not even get a scholarship offer. I've been working
Ex-
in this sport my whole life. It's the same with
Yes.
business. If we don't get hit X amount, we might not be able to take this next step. But it's
Yes.
like at the same time, what else will we be doing? Will we just be out here just living average and not trying to do better for
Change.
ourselves in life? I feel like that's the real fear. Even Mark Zuckerberg said that like the real risk is not taking any risk. So it's kind of like if we're in business and we are taking risks, we have to just appreciate what comes with it too. We can't fear it.
And you certainly don't want to vocalize that fear, but you mentioned the piece on like an athlete, being an athlete. Each game does matter. Like it may not like externally, like it matters. It matters. The moment matters, and that feels like extra pressure that's on top of the moment, like extra pressure for people who are about to watch the game, or extra pressure for you as a player to perform as people intended or want you to perform. So almost like turning a piece of yourself off so you can be in that moment and be in that expectation, and it could get heavy.
Yeah, definitely. When those lights on, it's different than practice time.
Yeah.
What would you say is the difference between expanding capacity and just pushing harder?
Mm, well, even hearing the words like um pushing hard, like push, when you push, it requires force, and you might actually break something, right? Expanding capacity is different. It's like changing. So again, I'll go this is a glass container. So if I were trying to push, I might break this glass container, right? Like glass breaks. If I drop this and exert force on this can crack into lots of pieces. But expanding capacity is like changing that container. It's about abundance, not scarcity. It's like in technology, it might look like asking MS DOS like a long time ago, MS DOS versus upgrading the system and using Windows. Like you're asking an old system to do new things. Pushing harder burns energy, and a lot of energy, and expanding capacity actually builds structure and builds infrastructure. So there's a difference, a significant difference. Like when we push ourselves to do more or be more, or I think about this because a lot of people hit the gym at the beginning of the year. They'll push yourself to like lose weight or be healthy, or have invoke wellness or whatever those things are. When you're pushing yourself, it doesn't feel good because you're pushing. So it feels like a drag, like, "Oh my gosh, I have to eat lettuce again?" Like, that doesn't feel good. But when you're expanding your capacity, you're like, "Oh, I can introduce, this thing." If you never eat lettuce, right? Like, say, "I can introduce this into my diet." So it's like you're welcoming something into a space instead of, like, forcing it in. It never feels good when you're forcing something in.
Yeah. I like how you spoke about this just the abundance
Mhm.
and scarcity mindset is kind of like going to the ocean, fighting just to get some drops in a bottle, not realizing that we, you know what I'm saying, we really are a part of that ocean and
Mm.
it's unlimited. We don't even know how really deep it is yet. Scientists are still doing research, finding new species every day. So it's kind of like that with opportunities in life, just having that type of mindset. And I feel like that's really the biggest thing with entrepreneurs. We have to change our mindset. If I go talk to myself from 4 years from now and I look recognizable, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even every 4 or 5 years, even every 2 years, you should be unrecognizable to the version of you the years before that, just because you're constantly evolving. So can you just talk about the importance of just constantly working on yourself and evolving from year to year?
Yeah. What I see often with the leaders and the teams that I work with, some of the organizations have been around for a very long time. So when when you think about an old entity, there's an old culture. Like we've always done that. You hear people say that a lot. Okay, we've always done that, or we always do it that way. Anytime you hear we've always done it that way, you know something is wrong because
Yeah.
it means the world has changed, and you bring up a good point. It's not reinvention every 4 years. We're in a space where reinvention is happening a lot faster than that. So, if you're not keeping up, you're always gonna be left behind, and you're always gonna feel some sort of stress. So, like, getting your mind in the game, like, life is about change. Like life is about change. Your body's going to change. The way you see things, your experiences are going to change. And if you don't take stock, if you don't take inventory on what has changed inside of you and what has changed around you, you will be lost. You'll be lost and disconnected and feel a stress and physiological responses to change. Like this is stress response. Like something's changed. Oh, we moved the cup from here to here. Oh, that doesn't feel good. So getting yourself in a position where you're able to brave changes a lot fast and recover from the change, that's what resilience is. That's the recovering faster so you can be in the game longer, so you can play to your full capacity when you're in the game and not feel the stress of it being a different moment. The person you are 2 years ago or were 2 years ago is not who you are today. And if you don't stop and just take inventory on how you've changed, what has changed around you, what resources are now available to you because you've lived that many more days, you're losing out.
Yeah, definitely. And I know a lot of great innovators always say the day you stop learning is really the day you stop growing in anything you do. So no matter how much you think you know, it's always more information out there to learn. And I know mental fitness is a big part of your work.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, how does it move leaders from dreaming big to actually getting big things done?
It's easy for people to think about physical fitness, like, oh, especially January when everybody's all the gym memberships are happening in
Yeah.
January. And why do you go to the gym? Why? Because you want to be able to feel strong, or you want to know that your heart is going to last as long as you live. And you do reps. You do reps. It could be running, so another distance, riding a bike, whatever that you happen to be doing to be physically fit. Mental fitness is like doing the same thing for your mind, and it's not like just reading books. We're talking about like what are the exercises that allow you to flex so you're not operating on autopilot. So mental fitness is that basic construct that so many of us operate on autopilot. Like if it's like driving the same route every day and then you forget how you got there. You don't know what buildings you passed. You don't even know what the stop signs are because your body was on autopilot. It's breaking out of that and getting yourself to a point where you're able to be nimble and resilient. So, like dreaming big versus getting big things done, mental fitness turns those big dreams into execution by reducing the internal friction that we feel. A lot of us, I know me, I'm just going to say me, I'm not going to point anywhere else and say, I oftentimes have thoughts that are not conducive to what I'm trying to do. Right? They're negative, like, oh, you tried that. You shouldn't be trying that, like those kinds of thoughts. They're talking like voices that are like talking to you, but if you call them voices, people think you're crazy. But they're like the voices that are talking, oh, what did she say to you? Like really asking questions that don't need to be asked, right? Like those voices that are saying things that are not conducive to what you're doing. And when you hear those voices, I don't want this to be about, being crazy, but when leaders are fighting themselves and fighting their own thoughts, thoughts that likely have no real grounding, when they stop doing that, they can build their capacity to decide and act. So when you can silence that thing saying, "Oh, you want to do what? You like, Carl, you want an app to do what?" Like that voice, when you silence that, you're able to break through it and get real things done and get to people who are loyal to the work, to people who are interested in the cause, people who genuinely agree with what you're doing and want more of it.
Even if we use somebody, let's say Elon Musk, for example, imagine before he made it, telling somebody, yeah, I'm going to make robots and then I'm going to work with the president and
Mm,
buy social apps and be worth trillions. Just imagine him telling somebody that when he was at his beginning level before he started working with PayPal, just how they would look at him when he was back in his days when he used to sleep out the office. Just
mhm.
how crazy they thought he was. Or Steve Harvey, you know, Tyler Perry, like living out their cars. Imagine how people felt when they told him, okay, I'm going to be rich one day and do this and that. And yeah, we definitely know you're not crazy talking about voices because everybody has that voice when
Yes.
you are trying to do something big. And it's, sometimes it's saying something and you just, like you said, you got to just shut it down and you
Mhm.
got have to go with your intuition and take that risk. It's kind of like when we talk about mental fitness, you can work out every day, go to the gym every day, but working out your muscles is not working out your mental capacities.
No, no,
It's
not
not
at all. Not at all.
elevating your consciousness in no type of way. I would rather, don't get me wrong, working out is great, but your mind is something that's worth more than your physical body.
Working out is great, and then you're an athlete, so I'm sure there's something in movement and using your body that is resonant for you and makes you feel, might even make you feel a high. Like if you're running, you know what? Like it might make you feel like you're floating when you're using your body. You channel that energy, that like repetition is, there's a lot of repetition in exercise. Some of these things do cross pollinate, right? Like
Yeah.
movement actually unlocks creative stuff in your brain. Biologically, that happens with you with athletics. Like, how have you felt that way, or when have you felt that way?
I would say all the time.
Ah,
Like,
nice.
cause with athletics, it's kind of like it's mental and physical
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
With business, it's more so just mental.
Hmm.
So transferring from being in a sport where, dang, I might have sprained my ankle last week, but I know we had this playout game. It's my senior year. I may have 14 touchdowns, but I don't have any D1 offers. Am I going to say, hey, I have a sprained ankle. I'm going to put my well being first, or am I going to say, hey, I'm putting it on the line. It's my senior year. I'm going, hey, I got a sprained ankle. I just better make sure I don't break it. Like, those
Hmm.
are the type of situations that I faced my last game being a senior. So coming from that, that's not only mentally exhausting, but that's physically exhausting on my body. So coming from those type of circumstances, I can now translate to business where I don't have to worry about certain, of course, physical things always gonna happen as we get older, but
Yeah.
I don't have to go out there and worry about a 300-pound lineman trying to throw me to the ground while it is happening. While I'm sending this email, can't nobody come tackle me. So it's a different type of mental capacity that I can have now and that I can be more comfortable just coming from those situations. I honestly tell people this all the time. I feel like if I never played football, you might be talking to a totally different person right now because it really helped me mentally and just overall as a person just build my resilience for things.
Yeah.
For example, like we might have a game and we might lose the game, but you still had to be at practice on Monday. That can translate to business because okay, I thought the big deal was gonna go through, but it didn't go through. Am I gonna take the whole week off and sit in that energy, or am I gonna stick to the plan, keep building my capacity how I was scheduled to do? It's already ingrained to me in me to do that because sports taught me that. So I just switch it to business.
Mm. There are so many parallels between like sports and business. There's so many parallels. Like, yeah, you might have not done so well, or the game didn't go as you planned on Friday, but you got to show up on Monday. Like that totally happens in business. Like you lost a deal. That client didn't come through. They canceled, whatever, a PO that you might have had. Yet you can't shut down the company. They might have even been the biggest client, and you happen to lose them. That doesn't mean that everything stops, because it's not just about that moment. It's what can you learn from that moment, or what muscle did you not have that allowed you guys to lose the game? So, taking that frame of reference, if the game is that lost client, what just happened? What muscle did your business not have? And to be honest, some of those lessons you want to learn, and you want to learn as early on in your business as possible, because those lessons are going to set you up to scale faster, to reach more people, to make something stickier, whether it's a service or even if you're selling a product.
Right. And it's just having that season mindset. Let's say we have 16 games in the season. Of course, we can plan to win them all, but realistically, we're not going to win every game in the season. So if we go up 2 wins and then we lose one, let's not focus on the one that we lost. Let's focus on what we did to win.
Mhm,
Where are
mhm.
we putting our attention and everything that we're doing? If we're focusing more on the losses, we're going to bring more losses in.
Yeah.
If we're staying in that energy, but if we're just focusing on how we're going to get better, we're still going to end the season on a good note and make the playoffs.
What you focus on is what you're igniting. Our coaching programs are called Highlight to Ignite. What you highlight is what you're going to set on fire. So if you're just highlighting the failures, well, okay. If you then you could say I'm a loser, yeah, because that's all you see is the loss. But if you're highlighting the wins, the like tactical, what did you do to make that win happen? Like highlight, like if you have to study that win, what was the magical set of circumstances that allowed that thing to happen, and study that so you can do more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that point. That's true. We have to use that laser focus and not let the negativity get to us. So, what do you think it looks like when someone resets the size of their cup, and how does that change the way they act?
Mm. I'll bring my magical cup back and say, well, when you resize your cup, you
Yeah.
act like you belong to the ending of your chapter. So we're all working towards something. So whether it's, oh, I want a promotion, I want to start a business, I want, to have a family, like those are personal goals. Like I want to travel the world. Like we're all working towards something, right? We want something. And when you resize your cup, you act like you already belong to the end of that chapter when you already have that thing. So if you want to travel the world, but you don't have a passport, then you don't really want to travel the world because you never got a passport. So if you acted like you belonged, like someone who traveled the world, you would have not only a passport, but the extra large passport that has extra pages because you'll need the extra pages for all the wonderful places that you're going to be going. And if you acted like you're resizing this cup, you're resizing this cup. You don't act like you're a visitor. When you go to somebody's house and you're acting polite, you take off your shoes and you might sit on the couch and you're being polite in the space. When you resize the size of your cup, you're not a visitor anymore. You're an owner. So you own that outcome. You know what the possibilities are, even if they're not clear. You're not like tiptoeing around it. Like, I think maybe perhaps I might consider one day. That's not how you sound. You sound like this thing is for you. So your voice changes, who you see to surround yourself with changes, and opportunities will start to see you in a different way because you're showing up differently.
Yeah, that's so true. Cause it's not certain things we could see, but it's a mental battle that's going on with everything we do. Like you said, you might put in that application immensely. You like, oh man, I hope I get this. I hope that. And it's like you already lost
You
because you
already
just
lost.
like you hoping.
Yeah, we
And
live in the spirit of expectation. We were working with a team at a utility, and they were kind of dysfunctional. They had not been operating well for a couple of years, and it got to the point when they invited us to work with their team. One of the problems was that nobody believed that they were actually working with us because they actually wanted a better ending for that team, a better story for that team. And so the first time we met with them, people were checked out. They weren't talking to each other. They didn't even want to be there. And what we saw was that they didn't want to be there because they didn't believe that this was really a thing. They thought it was just like, checking a box, like, okay, we tried to do something like a team, rah rah with these people. But when we kept on working with them, there was something that shifted. And I'll tell you, Carl, it was actually funny to watch because it got to the point where people were almost sounded like church. Like when they started speaking to their leadership, other people like, mm-hmm. Like, it was kind of funny because they believed they started believing that their voice in expressing the displeasure, what was going on. Like, okay, leaders don't listen to us. Oh, they're hierarchical. They don't want to talk to us. They don't care. They're always saying we're wrong. Like all the concerns that they had, this was the first time they actually got a chance to speak their concerns and feel like they were being listened to. So they resized their cup. They saw themselves as, "Oh, okay, we're just working at whatever. Nobody likes us. Like our reputation is bad. Our leaders don't like us." This is what they were thinking. When they resized the cup by the end, they were saying, "I want to sign up for that committee that is now going to be working on this thing, fixing this thing." They raised their hand. They raised their hand to do more. So what changes when you resize your cup is like you're engaged more in a different way that actually matters.
Yeah, that's a great response. I recently saw a video of Offset, one of the members from the Migos. He was doing an interview and they asked him how much he got paid for his first show. And he said they got paid 250 for their first show.
Mhm.
A member of the Migos. And this is a performer that's now making around like 100,
Wow.
250,000 off one performance.
Wow.
So I love that point because it's like you have to realize it's steps to where you want to get to. Even with me, I remember my first pitch competition winning $5,000 in 5 minutes. That was my first time doing it. Mentally knowing like if there's somebody out here who will pay me 5,000 in 5 minutes, it has to be somebody out here who will pay me 50,000 for 30 minutes. I
Mhm.
just had to find the opportunity and keep working on my craft. I had to know that mentally before I can even go do it physically. So yeah, that's a great point.
You're like the pitching expert at this point. Like, what helped you shift that thinking from, okay, they're gonna $5,000, I got this, and then now they'll pay me more. Like, because you're doing amazing things. You shared that with me that you guys about to kick off a program with your high school. Like, what got you there?
Really just expansion. You know, it's really all in the reps. I would be lying if I said I just went on stage and just did it without practicing. You know, I feel like it's the work that goes on behind the scenes that people really don't see. And I feel like football really prepared me for that. I remember during the off season, I will always be on the track. I will always be training. I will always be doing drills. Once it's time to play on Friday night, it looks easy, but it's like they weren't there all the days I'm doing the work. So I just translate that same work ethic to business. I might just be practicing the pitch over and over. So by the time I'm on stage, it looks like second nature, but I just really made sure I incorporated that into my work, you know, just to have it in my routine. Lil Wayne was speaking about that. Like repetition is the biggest thing that really gets you where you want to go. I feel like that's in any craft, whether we're talking about a top actor, a top musician, a top podcast, or whatever it is. The more you do anything, the better you're going to get at it. You have to. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Just repetition. And as far as the programs with Move Spot, we really just want to expand. We know that mental health is a big problem
Mhm.
with every generation, not
Every
just a
generation. Yeah.
certain generation. It's everybody's feeling the effects of it. And we definitely want to be a solution to that. You know, we have a new feature coming out soon where people will be able to meet up in person more and make more in person moves. So, yeah, we definitely have a lot on the way with that. With the program, we're going to be
Yeah.
teaching the kids about tree planting, water hydration, and just climate awareness. So, we'll be going to my alma mater high school, you know, we actually had a whole auditorium booked for us. So they letting us use the auditorium from 8
Amazing.
to 3, also letting us use all the outdoor areas just to give back to the kids. You know, we bought them some hoodies, have some food for them, you know,
I
little
love it.
get out of class free card day, field day. So it's definitely a full circle moment just going back to, you know, where I came from and being able to give back to the students is a great feeling.
I loved when you told me that story because that totally ties to capacity. It's like allowing young people now to see themselves like, oh my gosh, like he went to this school. And just by seeing that, that expands their capacity, their ability to believe that they can do what you've done. They can win pitch competitions. They can like create apps. They can do these, they can create a clothing line. Like they can do these things. Like I love that about your story is that you you are so clearly creating capacity for others and just by being yourself, which is like so cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was a great point because sometimes seeing is believing. You
Yeah.
know, you knowing, okay, this dude really just he was in these same hallways as me. Around 9 years ago, he was in these same hallways as me. So I should definitely be able to do something like he's doing. So yeah, that was really one of the main reasons of making Move Spot. It's more to me, it's bigger than money, it's bigger than all that. Like people want cloud money, like it's bigger than that to me. I just want the impact.
Mhm.
So it's definitely good. You talk a little bit more about what do leaders do when clarity is incomplete?
Mm. Oh, I mean, this probably sounds simple, but they make bad decisions. When you don't have a whole picture, you make bad decisions, you make mistakes, you make mistakes. Hear those things like, we've always done it this way. And you do more of that, you do bad things, right? Blockbuster versus Netflix. It's like Blockbuster, you went to rent a video, you went somewhere, rented a video, and you brought it home. And people liked going to rent the videos and buy candy and stuff like that. But like, that was dated and they didn't, shift with the time. So that's what happens. They don't pay attention. Like you're missing the picture. And with the pace of change, I can't afford to do that anymore. So that's what happens. You make bad decisions. And a lot of people suffer. Probably, your team will suffer, your company will suffer.
Yeah, that's true. And it's crazy you mentioned that Blockbuster situation. I know they actually had a chance to buy Netflix back when Netflix was on the up and coming. So that just goes back to the point we were talking about earlier about okay, this person doesn't necessarily believe in my dream or they don't want to help me with what I'm doing. They could have easily let that affect them and said, man, you know what, this Netflix thing isn't going to work. They don't want to buy us. Let's shut down. But they keep going. And now we see how things turned out. So sometimes when you do feel like giving up, maybe just staying around a couple more years can change your whole life, just having that type of mindset.
Mm.
So if someone listening feels like they're successful but exhausted, capable but constrained, what's the first small shift that you would invite them to make?
Exhaustion is common. Like we all feel it periodically when you're, especially as an entrepreneur or a business leader, business owner, we all feel it. Like you're doing something and you don't see your progress in the moment. You don't see your progress in the moment. So you see your progress only when you're able to like hover over your journey and then reflect on that. So it's when you wake up in the morning before you even get out of bed, envision yourself like before you take your head off the pillow like this, envision yourself putting your head back on the pillow at the end of your day, and just for a second imagine all of the wonderful things that you're going to be able to say happen to you in that day. And it feels like ridiculous, like, okay, well, wonderful things don't happen every day. Yes, they do. You're just not paying attention. So the first small shift is just to pay attention to your wins. Pay attention to your wins. Celebrate your wins by the day. So before you take your head out, visualize what might be a win for me today. And then before you put your head back at the end of the day, celebrate your wins each day, because that's what's going to get you up the next day. That little bit of something, that little bit of something. Oh my gosh, I finished that one thing. That's going to get you up the next day. That's going to keep you motivated when it feels hard.
Yeah, I like that. That's really one thing I live by with life and any even if it's not business, I feel like you always just need something to look forward to. You know, like I can't just be living life and I don't have nothing to even think about or be excited for, or even if it's just taking a trip or walking in nature. Let's just have something that we're excited for, that we're looking forward to doing. And that kind of leads into my next question about what does leadership look like when it's built for sustainability instead of survival?
Sustainable leadership isn't selfish. It means that you're respecting yourself, you're taking care of yourself, you're, doing those things. As a leader of people or leader of a cause or whatever that is, selfless. It's not about you. It's about the thing. So oftentimes when we put ourselves, I hear, like, I do a lot of speaking, and when I do this speaking, other speakers sometimes are concerned because they're like, oh, what if I mess up or what if I forget? Like there might be some nerves that happen at the beginning. But when you think about why are you there? What am I here for? And the here for is not so I could just talk and blab my mouth. It's the here for is if somebody can take one small thing, then the here for is for the impact. The here for is for the other. So when you think about the other, that's sustainable. The other, because the other's going to last longer than you and that moment.
That's deep. Yeah, that's deep. I feel like we would have a lot more speakers if they just approached it with that mindset. And even me, before I go on stage, you really have to talk to yourself sometimes. Like you said, not on no crazy voices in my head, but yes, like you have to really talk to your voice in your head sometimes. Like, yo, we got this. This is what we practice for. It's game time. Let's do it.
Game time.
Hey, whoever likes me, cool. Whoever doesn't, hey, that's cool too. But we just gonna go out here and perform. That's the mindset we have to go out there with.
Naomi Osaka, how she had a tennis match. She kept on saying, "Come on," right? And then her opponent got upset because she's like, "Oh, they're allowed. She's allowed to talk. She's allowed to talk." Her opponent was like really, really like nasty and just like mad because she was losing, probably. But Naomi kept on saying, "Come on," but the "come on" wasn't about the opponent. It was about herself. She was talking to herself to like hype. It was like a hype word, like "Come on, come on, come on," like "Let's go." And like get yourself hyped, get yourself in the game.
Yeah. Hey, EA Sports, stay in the game, guys. But nah, let's get into a couple fun questions too before we head out. What helps you reset when your mind is full?
Moving, any movement. Long time ago, I tiled floors, like, oh, whatever, anything that is like taking me out of a laptop or taking me out of a book and taking me into my body moving. So reset is movement for me. Sometimes meditation, but mainly movement. Like during the pandemic, my thing was I stayed outside and I was like doing all kinds of gardening, and wasn't a gardener, but moving, like just being in motion. So,
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, all type of activity, definitely. What kind of environment helps you think best?
mm, look, a clear environment, So I don't like a lot of papers around. I don't want like a lot of, tchotchkes or, people have like knickknacks and stuff like that. Like an environment that is clear of clutter helps me think the best.
Okay, that's cool. So what's your favorite part about business?
Uh, favorite, well, there's two favorite parts. Like one is in fact like doing something of value and seeing that value realized through other people. So again, I'm supporting leaders and teams and change their perspective so they make better decisions. Seeing the better decisions happen is like really exciting. In some ways, it almost feels like a game. It feels like a game. Like how can you tweak this so something else happens on the other end? So I enjoy that. I enjoy modifying services. I enjoy working with people and getting to meet people like, oh, I do this for a living. I get to meet incredible people like you for a living. There's nothing better than that.
That's a fact. No, that's a great answer. I definitely agree. So let's say you could go anywhere in the world for a week, just pack your bags and you
You
be
got to
on
give me
your
more
way.
than a week. You got to give me more than a week.
All right. You can go anywhere in the world for a month. For a month. Where would you go?
Well, so I love that you asked me that question because I didn't talk about that, but I really enjoy travel. I enjoy being out. And I was on a seven continent quest, and I went to Patagonia, but when I was going, I intended to go to Antarctica on that trip. And I thought you could just go, but you can't just go. You actually need to make a specific reservation, and it's actually not an inexpensive thing to do. So I have not yet gone to Australia. I have a cousin who moved there, and I really want to visit her. So I'd probably spend time in Australia,
Ooh,
Melbourne.
Australia.
Yeah.
No, that's a good pick. Cause they got all the type of nature stuff out there too. You can go see the animals.
And then I would escape this cold because it's now summertime.
Are you more of a morning person or late night person? Like when it
Morning,
just kind of
hands
okay,
down.
okay.
Morning. I got bing, my eyes go brrr. I open all the blinds, I open all the blinds. I mean, I could easily wake up at 4:30 and not have a problem with it, but I usually hang on until about 5. So
I already know the answer to this, but do you prefer comfort or growth?
growth, 3,000% growth. If you are comfortable, that like this is neuroplasticity. When you are too comfortable, you are not doing that mental exercise. You are not mentally fit when you're too comfortable. It's that stretch that tells you that you are growing. And
Yeah, no, that's a fact. Hey, that's some great questions. Is it any motivational words that you can leave for the viewers? You know, it might be somebody watching this right now. They might be a little lost or going back to the drawing board, trying to put two and two together, or even maybe about to give up. You know, if it's just
Mhm.
some last minute motivation that you can give to the people.
Yeah. So one of my favorite movies is Finding Nemo. And it's like Pixar movie, I think it is. And in that movie, there's a fish called Dory, and she says, "Just keep swimming." Like she just keeps saying, "Just keep swimming, just keep swimming." And because they encounter a challenge, as cartoon movies happen, encounter a challenge, but she says, Just keep swimming in spite of the." And it's easy to say, but what does "just keep swimming" actually mean? It means it's going to get hard, but it's when things get difficult that you're actually growing. So when you keep on swimming, and I can't even really swim, so maybe this isn't the better best analogy, but when you keep on moving, there's growth that's happening. And if you don't feel that discomfort, you've lost something. If you stay in a space that you're always comfortable, you can only ever get what you've gotten. And whatever frustration you may be feeling, you refuse to grow past it. So when you keep swimming, it like wade in the water. There's songs like all kinds of songs from church that talk about like you got to get in it. You got to get in it to get through it. You got to get in it to get through it. And when you're in it, there are lessons that you are learning in it. It's not being in a rush to get to the other side. There's something you're supposed to learn in this moment. And your challenge is to ask yourself, what am I supposed to be learning right now? What do I not have? What muscle do I not have? What skill do I not have? Who is not in my life at this moment that is causing this experience, this hard, to feel so hard? What is it that I'm supposed to be learning in this moment? And how has this circumstance prepared me for wherever I'm about to go? Because I'm going somewhere. That's why I'm in this right now. I'm Christian. I believe in God, and God's leads my life. And I know that there are moments that I look back, I'm like, why did that happen? And I'm like, oh, that's why that happened. That door opened because I did this thing, even when it was hard. I didn't like doing. I didn't know it doesn't even make sense. But when you add up all of those don't make sense and you look at them, they actually do make sense. So Dory says it, just keep swimming. I'll say exceed your potential. Like this is what you're looking at. It feels bad because you're breaking this thing rather than resetting it to something bigger. So that's what I would say.
Hey, that's big. Finding Nemo, that was one of my favorite movies too, by the way. So yeah, shout out to Dory, shout out to Nemo, the whole crew. That was one of the classics. But hey, that was some great motivational inspiration right there. I feel like if somebody was about to give up now, they definitely not gonna give up after they hear that. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining the podcast, dropping all these great gems, just letting us know more about you and your journey, and also, the Lensurf group, your business, and just your personal story. It was great hearing about it, and I appreciate you joining. Did you have any social medias you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Farnia Fresnel, FARNIA FRESNEL. That's probably where I'm most active right now on social media on LinkedIn.
Okay, cool. Yeah, hey, you heard it. Find her on LinkedIn. We appreciate you joining. I look forward to just hearing more about everything you're doing, following your journey and staying connected. I know our business is our partner. So, as we continue growing, it's going to be many more opportunities to collaborate. So, yeah, thank you for joining.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, Carl. I really, really appreciate it. So, and good luck with the podcast. I love it already. I watched several episodes and I'm like, I'm really excited.
Yeah, definitely. No, I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining. You have a great rest of your day.
All right. Bye for now.
All right.